Yeah, I am. And I'm not driving. I want to make, is the lighting okay, Jay? Are we good like that?
No, you're a little bright on this side, on your left side,
Okay.
but hey, I'll take something versus nothing, so it's all good.
Which is where we were for the last 10, 15 minutes. I'm sitting here going, oh no. And let me tell you, anybody who's watching this, of all the people in the world that I hate to disappoint, that's my two wives, my wife Jill and my business wife Jay. Those are not good feelings. I am uncomfortable with them. So I'm sitting here going, oh my God, I got to get up to this. Fortunately, I'm in a stunningly beautiful place, stunningly beautiful, and I'm in a very nice car, so I was able to zoom around to try to find some hillside so I could get some reception. But I'm here, yay!
Hello, you are in a Lamborghini right now?
What,
Seriously?
what, what, what?
Are
Yes,
you
I
living the
am.
big life or what? Johnny
It's
Mac.
it's just illusions. It is maybe it's good karma, maybe it's just blind luck. But I will attribute it to some of the philosophies and things we're going to learn from our guest because it is mindfulness. There's a way to bring so much into your life, and I believe that that's why I have these kinds of crazy opportunities. And I'll share with you later in the show. The drive I had last night was I've never had a more exhilarating experience. I was like, oh, this is crazy, crazy. So I'm excited to
Oh,
share that a little bit.
it's like where's Waldo? It's like where's Shiny Mac? Where in the world is Shiny Mac and the adventures he is having right now? Because your life is getting insane. Okay.
It is a little kooky. I thank you for bearing with me, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the permissions you give me because it's crazy busy, which we'll share later too. It is just this giant juggling act of getting everything compressed, and yet making time like we do on Friday for each other and for our friends because that's what fulfills me. That's the sustaining spirit. That's the flow that comes through into this space that really gives me great energy and clarity and restoration so that next week when you just basically say bye here thank you I can go okay, I've got the strength to do it. But thank God you are who you are, Jay Wu, because you were made for this kind of thing. I know it's rough, but man, thank you, I appreciate it.
I wish I could just divide and conquer and have three of me go out there because there's literally a nonstop series of just slotting all the scheduling in. So I'll make it happen. It all work out. So we've had a fun little event last Sunday. We had our virtual Heyler Harvest, which was nice, and we had Chris Cooper drop off some things, but I didn't get a chance to grab it from him because he came a little bit later yesterday. So we're going to raffle off some of his micro fleece phone cleaning air freshener devices that he has that he wanted to share with our community. And we also have some drawings that we did, and we for all the people that signed up to get a pumpkin last week, and the grand winner of the AirPods.
Oh,
We'll announce it
are we
after
going to
the show.
announce we're going to announce the grand winner
No,
for the
we'll we'll
AirPods?
we'll do it after Angelike is on the show. How's that? Because I
That
want to introduce our guest because she is really someone that is so compassionate and caring and so there for her friends, for other parents, for her community. And so I think now more than ever, this is such a perfect time slot. Thanks again, Yvonne, for being so brilliant to have a guest like Angelike on our show right now and to share her gift of.
well, we also have a mutual history with Angelike. Not only is she a community member for our immediate neighborhood and a parent at Westwood Charter, and her children that your children have grown up with, similarly with mine, her son Kai and my son Charlie were dear friends in their nursery care phase at Little Village, which is where we all were also a part of a family, that brilliant cooperative. And it was there that we got to know, and I got to know Angelike and her husband. And I really saw in them immediately tremendous kindness and sweet natured and generosity. And whenever you see Angelike, it's infectious because she's got a lot of joy and happiness to give and share. So I'm happy to
Let's
bring her on.
let's bring her in the show. So her nose is not twitching from all the things that we're saying about her, and she gets to hear it directly. Hi, Angelike. Welcome to our show.
Hi guys, how are you?
Great, thank you. Great, thank you.
Well,
How
what you
wonderful
may
to
not have seen yet, Angelike, is that Sean is in a Lamborghini right now in Vegas,
Woo!
trying to get connectivity to join us for the show.
I've been driving around the mountaintop finding spots, but the problem is it's clear skies, so the sun is everywhere, and I'm like ducking behind little trees. You see?
It's a good place to be in that kind of minor distress, a fancy car like that.
Well, listen, it's a wonderful little blessing that came my way. I had to take a trip out here to like Las Vegas for Charlie, and so I was like, okay, well, I'm going. And my brother-in-law, who has a really pretty and enviable car collection, looks at me and goes, "Hey, man, take that one." I'm like, okay, no
Yeah.
problem. Bye.
Don't have to tell me twice.
I
Yes.
know, right?
Came with about a dozen stern warnings from my wife.
Exactly. I'm sure.
Text messages. We can't afford a ticket right now. You can't get that insurance. I'm like, relax. What do you think I am? Like Mario Andretti? I'm actually more like a grandpa. I'm doing this thing. Da, 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 watching cars pass me. Until, and I'll share that a little bit later. But Angelike, thank you so much. I hope you got to hear a little of the intro, because both Jay and I were able to share, our history with you, relative to the communities that we have all been through when it originated at Little Village, through our immediate neighborhood, and then also through Westwood Charter. And we have been friends now. Gosh, I mean, Charlie and Kai have been friends since they were 2, and that puts that 11, a little over a decade.
Mhm.
And Maddie, and did Maddie and Ryan, were they in the same class, Jay?
No,
No, but they
Maddie's
were.
a year ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's where I met Angelike. It was also at Little Village, that beautiful little co-op that changed my life. Which, because of you and Sean, because of you and Jill, when I was a few months pregnant with Ryan, said, "Did you sign up for a preschool?" And I said, "What?"
Yes,
I'm not
I
an
remember
Angelino.
that.
And he's like,
Right.
"Before that baby comes out, you better be on a wait list somewhere." And I said,
Isn't
"What are you
that true?
talking about? He hasn't even come out yet." And sure enough, we had to get on that Little Village preschool wait list, or we would not have the life that we have today, because I have such wonderful
Yeah.
parents who led the pathway for me to be a better parent, as well as a better community participant, because of people like Angelike, who wrangled me in and said, "You've got to get involved." And I learned the proper ways of how to do it. So a lot of that is attributed to you, Angelike, and of course my partner Sean. But I learned a lot from Little Village, being at a working preschool.
Yeah. Yeah, and I didn't hear your shout out to me, but I will definitely give you guys a shout out too, because you two are people that everyone is honored to know. I'm honored to know. I was thinking about both of you this morning, and I was just thinking of Jay as like, whenever a leader is needed, Jay, you show up. And I was thinking of all the accoutrement, a shovel, a clipboard, an umbrella, like whatever, scissors to a ribbon cutting. You know what I mean? Like, you are there and you are leading with your grace and your steadiness. And it's just an honor to know you. And then I think of Sean with your big old heart. And I was actually, the memory that popped up for me is, I don't know if you guys remember this, like 12 years ago, no one thought like public schools should get money from advertisers, right? Like, it was a real new thing. And I remember Suzanne Landis, like, we were in a big budget crunch, and she's like, where can we, let's reach out to our neighborhood businesses, see if they can support the school. And of course you guys were, showed up like the first people. And then we didn't know how to set up those, everyone has now those signs.
Yes.
That first time we set them up, we're trying to do it. We don't know how to do it. Sean and John, maybe. So I don't know. Remember, a couple people showed up.
Oh, hanging up the banners.
Hanging up the banners. And not only did Sean hang up the Heyler banner, he hung up every competitor's banner. And that is the kind of people you guys are. So it's really an honor to know you.
Angelike.
Thank you for that. That means everything, right? There's that idea of who we are as a community, who we are as neighbors, and things we aspire to. And that's part of the reason that we think of guests like you because we know so much of what you do is oriented to making the world a better place. You know, there's a very large, broad thought process here where we are looking globally, but really acting locally. And you have spent many, many years. You have, I seem to recall you're highly educated, and you have spent a tremendous amount of time doing the work and the study and the practice and teaching practice of mindfulness. And I think that is, of all the things I tell my children every day as we walk through places, be mindful. It's like that little cue, be mindful. So thank you for coming here to share that with us.
Yeah, and that's so helpful. Like, what would that look like right now? I mean, we could just even pop into a quick mindfulness exercise if you guys are game for it, just to, you know, even just like, what would it, you know, we think of mindfulness when you're talking to kids. So I teach kids, I teach grownups. I would say my kids, my students so far have ranged from 3 to 83. I'm willing to, a little younger might be a little harder, but I'm definitely willing to go older. But so, you know, I get to teach in a variety. I'm super lucky. I get to teach in schools and community organizations, but I also am an Insight LA teacher, and I teach through Insight in schools that can come into your schools if you're interested in that. And I teach a ton through Mindful USC. So anyone out there who's a current student, faculty, staff, or spouse of, you know, oh yes, and I know we have got a Trojan in the house. Then any of you all at USC can take these classes for free. It's an amazing, incredible program they have there. So I'm all over the place.
And guys, don't we all need it right now? Are you kidding me? I mean,
need it.
Yeah.
So we talk with
vibrate
kids
at a different level, right? Yeah. It's the energy field that needs to kind of slow down a little bit, because it's so ramped up with all of the sensations of change that everybody's gone through for 8 months now. It is kind of surreal. And so I think learning how to calm the mind down, calm the body down, but also conscious of what we're feeling is, and I know that you have exercises that can help us get there, right? Ooh, I love it. All right.
Yeah, and I mean, you just pulled all the real parts of it. You know, when we talk about, you know, mindfulness, paying attention in the present moment, trying to leave that judgment out of it. You know, really being here. When we talk about kids, that same idea is paying attention with kindness to ourselves, other people, the world around us. That's Susan Kaiser Greenland's definition. I love that so much. Paying attention with kindness to ourselves, other people, the world around us.
Judgment is such an evil, you know, kind of thing that kind of curls up in there sometimes, and judgment of others.
Yeah.
It's so inbred, and I don't know why that is a part of who we are, and to be so conscious of not doing that, especially to ourselves, not to others for sure, but we can be our harshest judges of our own selves. And, you know, being an overachiever perfectionist that I am sometimes, it is really one of those things I'm grateful to have learned, is to be mindful of, okay, you've just got to breathe. You've got to meditate through the speed in which I'm moving, calm down. and, you know, there's a lot of these exercises you taught us many years ago when you led us through a mindfulness session, and very fortunate. And I don't want to hold people up. Let's go through some of these with you right now, if that's okay.
Yeah, that'd be great. And just, you know, pulling out that, you know, the being hard on yourself, you know, we can really start thinking about showing up for ourselves as our own best friend. We can listen to that internal voice that is so hard on ourselves. We say meaner things to ourselves than we'd say to anyone that we even hated, right? And to, you know, so if the one thing I get, so there's a great course called Mindful Self-Compassion that lots of people teach, but I teach kind of everywhere. I love it. If there's one thing I can say to you today, it's like, I give you permission to show up for yourself. You know, I give you permission to be kind to yourself. Sometimes we need to give that internal, that's that judgment, you know, and we have all kinds of worries and stuff, but there's a whole class on it. I recommend it. But so maybe we could do that. Maybe we'll do just a little mindfulness exercise that you could kind of drop in, and then we could add maybe a little sweetness, a little self-compassion. We could talk for a few minutes after that and do that.
That would be great.
That sounds great.
I mean, I
Well,
look on this, yeah.
please lead us because we're ready for it.
I mean, I look at this Zoom thing. I mean, first of all, like this is what I tell everyone, right? We're spending so much time engaging in these like disembodied boxes, right? That we kind of forget, like, oh, I'm a person, and these people are like, it feels also sort of digital and unreal. So even going into a Zoom class, so this is something you could, or a Zoom meeting, right? Something you can do with yourself. Before going into a meeting with your kids. I know so many people, right? Oh, those poor kids, man, on these Zoom meetings endlessly. And so I always think about like ground on the way up, relax on the way down, and then engage, kind of. So just even, you first of all, even just noticing you're a person in a space. Like I just like look around, like you're in a beautiful Lamborghini, Sean. Like, are you even noticing it right now? Are you stuck in the screen, right? Or you're noticing.
I'm still feeling it because I actually have the engine on, and it's just like, brrr, and every once in a while, and it has these features. If I could share for a second, so there's these different. There's like an eco, and then there's a sport, but then there's something called Corso, and it's just like you're on the back of a dragon. That's all I can tell you, and it is going. So every once in a while, the ego in me, that big old male ego, like make sure that everybody knows I've got the Corso. Exactly. I don't know what I'm making up for, but yes.
And what's interesting though is that ego never ever comes in ever, except when you're the protector and certain things rile up. But beyond that, you are the most egoless, compassionate, loving, giving human being as a man that I've ever known. And so you may say you have it, and I know that DNA is there and that testosterone is there. However, you rarely give in to that. You just you give to your family and your friends so deeply and so lovingly, and not in this machismo kind of a way. You've never been that guy. So it's good to see you come out here in the car.
I do. It does show up once in a while, and I really love you saying that, Jay, and thank you for that. And you know what's super interesting is that even the exercise that Angelike was just walking us through in the beginning, just a second ago, and that permission, because as you were sharing that, there was almost a like, okay, it's hard to accept that sometimes, and it's really interesting that an inner dialogue. And I think why the practice of mindfulness and reflection and grounding, as you say, Angelike, is so critical. And I love you, Jay. You know the energy flows back and forth. We're the mutual fan club. I mean, that's part of how we go through life. But it is interesting that my own initial reaction is almost a little sheepish and almost a little embarrassed, and it's weird, right? So anyway, I guess maybe that leads us into our exercise, which I'm so excited to go do.
Yeah, so maybe even just like looking around, just like actually noticing that you are in, a space. Maybe the light is hitting nicely. You can even look behind you. We forget that there's actually like a world behind us, when we engage on the computer. And then maybe coming here and like wiggling your toes, like noticing you have feet. Your feet are here. Even welcoming your feet to this moment. Hi, feet.
I like it. I like it.
And you feel those feet, how they're held. We forget that we're actually really grounded and held, supported. So feeling, the points of pressure of your feet on that floor. And you're kind of held by your space. You're held by the planet. So if ever you're getting overwhelmed, right, to just come back to your feet. Oh, my feet are here. They're supported. They're held. And then taking that grounding back, all the way up, starting to notice you have a whole body here, and that's also here. It's supported and held. Feeling the points of pressure of your body in the seat. Noticing maybe your strong pelvic bones are holding you, and your spine and your rib cage. Your heart's beating, your lungs are breathing. Your body's taking care of you without you having to do anything about it. Just feeling into being alive, being a human being just like this. some people like to show up for themselves. You can put a hand over the heart or somewhere else a little supportive, feeling into the warmth of your own touch, just like, oh, here I am. Here I am, and taking a few breaths, breathing into being here, supported, alive. Just by the space you're in. And we notice some tension, right? We're all carrying so much tension right now. It's hard to even sit for it's been 2 minutes, 3 minutes, So you can intentionally soften around those eyes. Your eyes are stressed. Relax your jaw. Soften around your throat and the back of your shoulders. Maybe put like a warm towel in your mind on your shoulders, right? They're carrying a lot of pressure. Letting your shoulders drop a little, right? They're probably hunched up. Unclenching around your heart, letting your heart soften just for a moment. Down your back, letting your back soften. Down your front, letting your abdomen soften. How much of a tension and stress and worry are you carrying there? Letting it soften. Down your hands, through your arms and your hands, letting your hands relax. They might even have a lot of tension there. And down your legs and through your feet. Even noticing maybe even my feet are tense again. Then you can just keep starting that over and over, right? We ground going up, feeling your feet are here. And then you soften and relax going down. Maybe taking 3 longer, slower breaths. Just feeling into all the points where there's a little more relaxation and a little more grounding. Maybe 2 more big breaths. All the way through your supported body and down to your supported feet. One more time. And before you even open your eyes, just notice if there was a part of that worked for you. Was there a little bit of a shift, a little bit of a presence? Then we can open our eyes and come back to the screen. And now we know we're here, we're a real person, and look at these real people on the screen. That was a little longer, but you can get good at that where right before you join a meeting, you remember that you're a person, you find into those points of grounding, where do I need a little care? And then when you engage, it's like, oh, here we are. Hi. You
know what I loved about that, Angelike, is like for me, because my brain is revving like that Lamborghini, like a couple hundred miles an hour. And but being guided to and reminded to breathe and take notice of grounding my feet helps significantly.
Yeah.
And then taking in the breath definitely for me slows this down. So it helps me, and I can get into that state very quickly. I have no problems going from 200 miles an hour and then slowing down to 0, because I've had that exercise. I've learned the breath work, and I've gone through that. And it does take practice, but I feel like even just in that very quick moment, I already feel refreshed, like I've already had an hour nap and I've breathed into my environment and focus on where we are right now. And so it does work very quickly for me. So
yeah, we think we have to do this forever, right? But we can do these short mindful moments, Sorry, Sean.
Well, no, sorry, nothing. This is so valuable. It is so valuable because to that point, we have this very organic nature, but often we get overridden by the brain activity and the stimuli. And to your point, the exercise, like when you went to the feet, immediately I was like, oh, I can always go back to my feet. You gave that as a clue. And all of a sudden, when I felt like the tension was rising because my mind started to wander as these threads of thought started coming through, I went back to my feet, and then everything calmed down. And I noticed at the very end of that exercise, first of all, I could have gone into a trance at that point. I could have gone to REM in a flip of a switch, which thank you, because I'll probably be doing that after this today for a little bit, because I was driving late last night. But the other part of that was that it is something in a toolbox that as we are facing the pressures of life, which are, of course, hyper exaggerated this day through our connectivity, whether it be the social media outlets that we have, whether it be our own personal businesses or interpersonal communications on a phone, on a FaceTime, on what have you, or news sources or radio sources or visual stimuli or traffic and people, and then we can just add the layers of complexity relative to our social environment, our political environment, our economic. It's to your point, Angelike, it just starts sitting all over this everything. And to release the heart, to have a technique and a tool to actually bring a calmness that I felt. It was almost as if a cloud came down, and for most people that know me, I'm kind of a cynical smartass. Like I'm a fairly bright guy. I pay attention to the world around me, and I like to work in the space. But all of a sudden, you just gave me this immediate like little switch. I could go, oh, just like that, and I get a recenter, and the energy changes, and then I can connect better, and I change my cadence, and my tension and my anxieties go away. Well, how powerful is that tool? Thank you.
You know what's funny, Angelike, because Sean shares all the time how kids these days, they cannot even play the song all the way through, right? I mean, Sean, that's something that you're telling me your kids are like, okay, move on, next song, instead of sitting through things. Like we grew up in that time era, right, where you didn't have a choice. If you're watching a show, you're watching the commercial. Nowadays you can flip past to the next show, onto the next thing. There's zero need for attention span, it seems like, when it comes to the media that we're taking in. And I feel like the patience to sit through things are less and less as the kids are getting younger and younger. And I don't think the Zoom thing is helping them much right now. And having all the screen time. And so exercises like this, I think, are needed more than ever to help people understand, be patient with yourself, be patient with time, really, and to sit through something all the way through. And then the rewards on the other side of it are actually very beneficial.
Yeah. And I mean, I love that, like our brains are actually designed to wander. So people always think that I can't meditate, I can't do this. It's not that you'd stop that wandering mind. Basically what happens, our minds wander. They're designed to wander. The reason people like mindfulness, right? You're paying attention in the present moment to something with a little attitude of kindness, right? Leaving that judgment behind. That lets this default mode network unhook. Otherwise, if we're not actually paying attention, this default mode network in our brain lights up and it does three things. It creates a you, it puts you in the past or the future, and it looks for problems. So who here has already thought about the email they didn't send, or the call they have to make, or God, there's an election next week, or, right? But that's not happening right now. It's putting you in the past or the future, and it's looking for problems. We're designed to do that from an evolutionary perspective, right? It's kind of a good thing. We need to know what's happening. We need to plan and learn from our mistakes, but it gets kind of out of control, right? So that's why these mindfulness exercises help unhook that, right? Take it offline. You come here, you feel your feet, you add a little kindness, put a hand on your heart. It's going to be okay, Or you show up for yourself like, you've got this. You can add a little bravery, a little courage, like, you got this. We've been here before. We've made it through. We can do it again,
Yeah.
Well, I think there's so much to be said too, that this is common to every living human being.
Yeah.
There is not one human being that escapes exactly what you just described. And it vibrates at different frequencies and different intensities. And there is something to be said. And there's also, you gave me the permission again. You're like, Sean, it's okay that your mind can wander, but it's actually what it's designed to do. So rather than I'm trying to go to a quiet space, which can still be a part of the place, it's okay to start to drift and allow that these other thoughts to process and to be able to be thought out or to be let go of or to be brought in. And it seems like you're slowing down your ability to receive information so that you process it in a much more healthy, digestible manner where you can really be, to your point, mindful about what you're engaging, what you're saying, how you're taking action, and how critical that is. And in today's day and age, with its intensity and with the speed of the stimulation, how important it is to take those moments to recenter so that you are not overloading or overwhelming, which you can see, which I mean, we know that in the past 8 months, that the consumption of alcohol is through the roof. The consumption for personally for food is through the roof, or for whatever other stimuli we use to bring ourselves some calm and to bring ourselves some distraction or what have you. So these techniques, these tools, these ideas of being present, I think allow for an interpersonal exchange, not only with ourselves, but theoretically and in practice with our communities at large, whether it be our immediate family, whether it be our extended family, our friends, our associates, our neighbors, and people you see in your community, so that you can make meaningful transfer exchanges of energy where it's positive. At least that's how I perceive it this morning.
So, Angelike, how did you discover mindfulness? How did you even become a mindfulness teacher and get into this?
Yeah, we were really lucky. I mean, when my daughter was really her first baby group, really, I think Tandy Parks is a mindfulness teacher, and we're talking 16, 17 years ago. Nobody was a mindfulness teacher who even heard of it, right?
Right?
You know, the leader of our baby group happened to be, such a practitioner and a teacher. And my daughter would have these, and I hope she's not listening because she'd hate me for saying this, but like hours long tantrums, like just she has sensory processing issues, and it was like the world was just way too much. So I was like, what are we gonna do? Like, I didn't have any skills. I was a lawyer before this. Like, I didn't know how to hold this, And so, we just started really using these really simple tools. I think feeling your feet and naming some things in the room were basically the first ones we used as a family. And as you see, still use them today, right? Why mess with these things, right? So it's this is that muscle that you strengthen. You keep bringing your attention back. And that's the muscle you strengthen, coming back to something, an anchor of attention in this present moment with a little kindness, again and again. And it just started to work for us, as they say. I started, sharing it with some other families who were, having the same struggles. I ended up being trained to teach by Susan Kaiser Greenland, so lucky, author of Mindful Child, Mindful Games, and taught in schools for a long time. Then it just kept evolving, trained to do mindfulness, trained to do mindful self-compassion, which when I first, I'm another plug for mindful self-compassion. I've been practicing and teaching mindfulness for a long time. Sometimes you notice when you come to the present moment, it's really hard. And you're being really hard on yourself. And you're like, I don't know if I want to stay in this present moment. Maybe I do want to go binge watch some Netflix. And that's okay too. But this mindful self-compassion there's 3 components. The mindfulness is we notice when we're having a hard time, because actually a lot of time when we're having a hard time, we don't even notice.
Right.
We notice that, oh, honey, you're having a hard time. This is difficult.
We suppress it, right? I mean, I know I'm so
busy.
I'm just gonna barrel through and just suppress it and not give into something. Because if I do, I may crumble.
Yeah. Well, we worry about that, but these are skills, right? Like Sean said, you build this toolbox so you can relate to that. You can relate to all of it. You can be really present in your life. And what you said, Sean, this common humanity, we realize, oh, I'm not alone. There's nothing wrong with me for having a hard time. This is how it is for people. This is how all people have these struggles. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm not alone. I'm not alone. This is how it is. Yeah. And then so you reach out to your own self like you would to anyone else, right? We all have these big hearts for other people, but then our own heart towards ourselves can be a little small. And you're like, okay, what do I need? Oh, honey, you're having a hard time. It's okay. This is how it is for people, right? All of us have a hard time. What do I need? And then you can either offer yourself some sweetness, sometimes we need, hand on the heart, taking a few breaths, just coming back. And sometimes you need a little motivation, like, you got this. It's going to be okay. You've been here before. You'll make it through again, or you're doing the best you can, or, how you're showing up is enough. Like, that's the one thing I want to keep telling people. Like, if you are here joining us on a live Facebook stream in the middle of a pandemic, in the week before the election, with all the crazy, you are doing a good job. I want you to know that. Like, you have made the time to sit here and find a link and get on a stream. And like, as much as you're beating yourself up, like, look at you. Like, you're doing this.
Right.
And I know there's really hard moments. I know that we're all having a hard time, but you've got this,
It's like having Mama Bear just saying it's okay.
I want to give everyone a hug. I'll give each of you a hug.
Well, I also think that's what, Angelike, what you're really sharing with so many people right now is this idea that that's a tool you can use for yourself.
Yeah.
That, not only is it like, okay, I'm relating to everybody, and to your point, Jay, because we missed the hugs, right? It was the doctor that gave us those hugs.
Oh yeah, Dr. Carey from City of Hope. He said this is his way of telling his patients that he's hugging them right now. So it's really sweet.
Right. So I'm hugging both of you right now, but there's also that point of when I'm here, I'm actually hugging myself, and I give myself that permission to say, okay, let's center, and I'm going to go feel those feet again. And as soon as I feel those feet, all of a sudden,
just don't press the accelerator.
No. That's true. Believe me, you'll know when I do.
But the research is actually there, Sean, that this is actually part of the program. I know, believe me, remember I was a lawyer. Like, if you had told me 25 years ago, I'd be like, oh, give yourself a hug. Like, are you crazy? But it's true. The research is there. Our human system. So one other thing to think about is, we beat ourselves up all the time. So we have this system that's designed to have fight, flight, freeze. You've heard that reptilian, where, so our adrenaline's going up, all this stuff, but we've internalized the threat, right? We've internalized the threat because we're beating ourselves up all the time. So our systems never get a chance to relax. That reptilian system never gets a chance to relax. But the lucky thing is we're mammals. And when mammals relax by, let's say there's a hurt little, beautiful little puppy and it was crying, and you're like, oh, puppy, what's wrong? And you're going to bring it here, and you're going to pet it, right? So you can feel your system start to relax, right? As mammals, warm touch, soothing touch, gentle vocalizations. That's how our systems calm down, and we can do it for ourselves. We always think we need it. We just have to kind of, like you said, Sean, get out of our own way a little bit and just be like, I'm just going to go for it. Like, oh, I need a hug right now.
I have to share, if I may, that, we've had, Jay, I don't know how many of these we've had. We started this very early in the pandemic, and has been a silver lining for us to stay connected and to meet and connect with all the people in our lives. And Angelike, as I approached today, I was like, well, I love Angelike. I know her. She's my community person. I know she's working in this space. I knew her as the attorney. I knew her as the critical thinker. I knew her as the leader at Little Village. So I knew Angelike and had respect for Angelike. But now, all of a sudden, this whole nother dimension, right, in your practice is opened up and has brought me this wonderful gift. It's a wonderful gift. And I really want to implore people, investigate this. You spoke about where you can get access to this, but please share again, because I'm really encouraging people. Here I am, Mr. Chess Player, Mr. Macho Lamborghini driver, right, strategist and business guy and community advocate and all the things that we wear on our heads as our hats. But I'm saying, oh my gosh, this tool, these skills, this present moment, and learning how to be in it is something that is so easy to forget. For instance, just a moment ago, when you were saying that, right, that self-care, I was thinking my normal self-care is a scoop of ice cream. You know, my normal source care is something else that gratifies me or gives me calm, but it's not cleansing. It's not filling organically. It's I'm bringing something outside in versus here. This is the inside out, and I
And you
think
feel
that
bad afterwards.
well, it depends on how much ice cream I eat, but yes, I do. You know, if I can take pleasure in a single bite, which has kind of been my goal lately, can I be so present as to enjoy all the flavors and sensations and make it so that it is a reward and not a sedation, which is what the sugar is doing, right? So I really want to share people. Angelike, again, where will people be able to connect with you? Because your technique is legitimate. It's very real. I feel it deeply and immediately. And I want people to know how they can get access to what you do.
Oh, thanks. And Sean, I just want to also say that, right, this, like, if this sounds like it's really far away from you, believe me, it was really far away from me when I started. Do you know what I mean? These skills are learnable. And we think about neuroplasticity. So, you know, we have a really deep, for most of us, a really deep neural pathway of, you know, not being present, being hard on ourselves, right? So we've really, really like taken that road down a lot of times. But we can stretch it. It's dose dependent, right? That's why these classes can be helpful, other ways of helping people remind us, because, you know, we make these intentions over and over. These intentions become our habits, and then our habits become our traits. At some point, we just realize, like, oh, I'm present a lot more of the time. Oh, I'm kind to myself a lot more of the time. But we just have to practice in lots of ways. So I thank you for, you know, I teach a lot at Insight LA, insightla.org. I teach a lot through Mindful USC, and out in the community. There's lots of ways, and lots of people teach this too. So it's not just me. If you can't find me, the Center for MSC, centerformsc.org, has a bunch of meditations, free meditations, if you want to, you know, investigate some of the self-kindness.
Well, I do have to say, as a parent who also had sensory and diagnosed with autism at an early age, the brain is very pliable. Like these sensory things through occupational therapists and so forth, that as a parent, I learned how to support my son when he was a baby and going through his sensory things. It really is the key to connection, that physical touch that creates the verbal skills and the visual cues to help them relate and feel centered and grounded. And really, it's like the grounding creates security, and security creates confidence, and confidence to not be so spastic. And I think all of that is so interconnected, and definitely the human touch, obviously, that is the key to in self-care, but to be able to not only bring our own compassion by being able to massage our own heart and having these exercises. But I have to say, it's been 12 years for him of going through, and if something does come up in anxiety and so forth, there's still that breathing, and the ability to just ground down has everything to do with kind of lessening that, you know, for him. And by going through it with him, I've learned it for myself and able to kind of sink into that state. And so definitely practice and finding opportunities to be a part of some classes, especially now more than ever. I think the access to be able to have online learning and learning a new skill set is crucial to coming out the other side better than the way we entered it. So really great. Well, thank you for sharing that with us, Angelike. I mean, it was really great. I know it was short, but also it just was impactful. And thanks for sharing your time with us this morning and introducing this to our audience. This is amazing. And also, it's just great to see you. I know we chat on Facebook and different things, but it's just great to talk with you and connect with you like this. And we're definitely
like family,
you, obviously. Yeah.
You know, we've been family for a long time.
Yeah.
Long time.
Well, we have some announcements and some raffles and some AirPods to give away today for the winners that came through for the pumpkins. So we'll have some other things. But again, stay safe out there.
Oh, you guys too.
Calm next week and stay calm. What is it? Stay calm and have mindfulness.
Feel your feet. Feel into being alive. take a few breaths. If you're having a hard time, give yourself a hug. You've got this. You've got this. We can do it. All right,
Awesome.
friends.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
All
Be
right.
well.
Bye.
Bye.
That in itself actually revved me down from going 100 miles an hour to 20.
Speaking of 100 miles an hour, no, I definitely, I'm going to share for a quick second because I know we have some important things to get to, but I wanted to share it. So last night, Charlie and I leave the city. We're going to Lake Las Vegas. Charlie has made a national league for soccer. So it's kind of like the highest level you could be in club before you go and do kind of a academy or Olympic type level stuff. So Charlie's evolving as an athlete. He's fabulous. And it's wonderful to be able to spend this time with him. And I get, 4 or 5 hours with him in a car. We were in Arizona a couple weeks ago. Now we're in Nevada. So anyway, we're driving out. And as I mentioned, my brother-in-law kind of looks at me and says, "Hey, man," and he's got a stable of cars and they're all crazy cars. And he's like, "Well, I'll take that one." I'm like, "Okay, I'll take that one." So I take this car and we are in the Death March in Southern California. And everybody who lives in LA knows the Death March is a freeway after 3 p.m. until, oh my God, 8 o'clock. And it was literally 3 to 8. We finally made it to Morongo. Like, that's crazy. And it rerouted us off of the 15 because the 15 had some accidents and some other problems. So the 15 had like 2 hours of extra traffic. I'm like, So it was super cool because we come around the back by 29 Palms and kind of near Landers, for people that are familiar with it, it's the earthquake capital of the planet. And all of a sudden we're back in that mountain pass, and it starts to go from low desert to high desert as it gets up here to Nevada. And it is just like that Eagles song, on a dark desert highway, cool wind in my hair. Like, it was, oh my gosh, there is nothing for literally 100 miles. It's a 2-lane highway going this way, but nobody's coming from the north to the south. It's just going to the north. And here I am in pitch black, stars out, and the only thing you occasionally see is it's where the grade of the giant trains come through, because it's a gradual pass. But there are a lot of these hoop-de-doos and giant curves. Well, let me just say, this car in Corso was made for it. And I'm a roller coaster enthusiast. I do all the gnarly ones. I love them. I enjoy it. Even Charlie sat there with me last night and goes, "Dad, that was the most fun I've ever had in a car." And I mean, we weren't crazy, but occasionally you had to open it up because you had a straightaway that was like 5 miles. You're just in this straightaway for 5 miles. And it was such a pleasure. So, but I'll tell you what, better be present. Had to be in the moment, really enjoying it, savoring it, and enjoying it. So that was an indulgent. And I already wrote my brother-in-law this morning. I was like, "Yeah, dude, thank you. I'll be taking this more often." Any old who.
That's so nice.
That's sweet. Very sweet.
Fun. That's so cool.
Well,
you know
how
me,
fun.
I love to drive too, so
I do.
I totally get
well,
it.
you would be scary in this car because anybody who knows you knows that your foot is nothing less than lead. So when you tried to feel your feet in that exercise, I was like, "Yeah, tell me how the center of the earth feels, Jay, because you can push through it." Boom! This car would jump. I could see it in a heartbeat. Right? Oh, for sure. And you would love it. And you would love it. I know you would love it.
I know. You gotta love a car that kind of responds, goes with the curves, and you're able to kind of. I used to love taking Sunset Boulevard when I had my CLK and just going through the turns on Sunset Boulevard from Beverly Hills down to Palisades, and that used to be so fun.
Yeah, when you get real engineering, and you have something that's super like this was a treat. And I mean, we've always had very nice cars, and I mean, we feel fortunate. And I moved into the Tesla mind space shortly after your husband Larry did, after being in a Prius for a long time. The car thing isn't really that important to me. It's a tool, but this was like, oh, maybe it's more important to me than I thought.
I know. Well, we had so just shifting gears literally from how this week has been, and heading into not Thanksgiving, to Halloween tomorrow. I know that we're going to be dark and not doing any trick-or-treating. And so I'm hopeful that a lot of folks will adhere to being safe tomorrow, but you never know. I know West Hollywood is shut down. Rodeo is going to be in Beverly Hills is banned trick-or-treating. LA hasn't banned it. However, a lot of my neighbors even emailed saying, what are you doing? And I said, we're going to just, not answer the door because, germaphobes that we are just don't want to have any kind of something hoopty going on. So we did a lovely, though, yesterday, our Emerson Community Charter Middle School, we did a lovely trunk or treat, gave out over 200 pieces of candy. And it was so great to see folks come out in full on costume and have something festive to look forward to that was physically in person, but also distanced. And it went really well, and thank goodness for our awesome teachers, our administration, our principal, and of course the parent volunteers that just came out for 2 hours and made, hopefully, especially for the sixth graders that haven't even met their teachers, an opportunity to just stop by and say hi and be on campus. So it was really sweet. And wow, talk about some awesome costumes. That's pretty incredible. So speaking of costume contests, we're going to give this weekend folks an opportunity to dress up, and probably tomorrow is a big day for folks to dress up. So if you hashtag Heyler Realty on Instagram or on Facebook and tag us, I want to enter you in for a $50 gift card for a restaurant of your choice. So whoever the winner is will purchase a gift card for you for a restaurant in our community. And then pumpkin carving contest. So if you get a chance this Halloween weekend and just do something festive with your family or with your significant other or even yourself, and carve a pumpkin and submit that in so we could see if we can enter you in for a drawing for $50 for a restaurant as well in the community, and just support it. Sadly, though, one that's not going to be salvaged is going to be the West Side Tavern. Tomorrow is their last day. It's another casualty of this COVID war, is that they cannot survive, and they are closing their doors forever. And that makes me very sad because it was an institution that is really upscaled, being over in the Landmark area and in our neighborhood, in some place that was lovely to walk to. The bar was beautiful. The food was exceptional. Service is impeccable. I mean, I'm really sad to have heard that news. Ordered from there last night, actually, for dinner. Takeout.
What's super interesting, Jay, and thank you for mentioning that. And for a quick second, we are going to see more of these things taking place. And so it's a reality that we're all engaged with. So I think it's really critical for each one of us to support locally as best we can. And that's why we do these community engagements. That's why we give away things. We're saying, look, yes, we know the world's changed a little bit, but we're going to keep rooted to some of these basic things. We're going to modify our behaviors. We're going to be safe. We're going to be conscientious of others and mindful. But we are also going to keep some amount of tradition and support those local businesses. So we really hope you guys do come out with your costume photos and hashtags and your pumpkin carving, because we want to give you some nice gifts and support some great businesses and restaurants in the area.
And of all the folks that entered into the pumpkin, I know our producer pulled up some names yesterday to announce our big winner of our AirPod is Rachel Motter. Yes,
yay! Yay, Rachel! Yay!
Yay. So we're gonna get these over to you. We know you live close by, and it was just so great to see you and Don, and hope that everything is going well with you guys. But thank you so much for being a fan of us and the community, and being our friends, and just so fun and genuine and kind, good people, and a wonderful family. So appreciate that. And I love the friendships that they have with my family. And so thankful to them very much. And boy, I tell you, this time goes by so fast. We have some unbelievable new listings this week, one in Ocean Park, one in Brentwood, one coming up in Carthay Circle, new one in West Hollywood, tons of buyers that are looking for homes right now, lots of great folks that we were able to close and help them get into their homes. So it's been an amazing last 5 months have been nonstop. And so I'm trying to cover for the both of us this weekend, Sean. So I want you to relax and enjoy, but there's a lot of appointments I got to make.
Well, listen, go with speed, go with health, and go with grace. Jay, you're awesome. Thank you for that. Those, by the way, those properties are super legitimate. There are some incredible opportunities. That Sunset townhome or that condo is sensational. That Brentwood one is like, oh my gosh, what a rare gem to have that. Or the duplex in Carthay, which is that mind-numbing, grand romantic with that living room space, which is just, and the dining rooms, and it's just fantastic. And then we have this incredible architectural over in the Rancho Park place that we listed this morning.
That's right. That's right. The two-story farmhouse, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a modern farmhouse, it's 3-bedroom, but it can be 5, and it's got this incredible floor plan. Or the beautiful value that the Santa Monica condominium, which is just this little stealth, beautiful, buffed out place.
Buffed out. They spent a lot of time to clean it out and get it all ready for the next homeowner. And the great thing is all of our sellers have been so willing to do the extra work to clean things out and just make these properties move in ready. They're just move in ready. And so I think that helps the transition, makes it easy for the homeowners, the future homeowners, the buyers to transition into a new home for themselves. And we love making those connections and helping, the home seller and the home buyer kind of each fulfill, each other's goal. So takes two to tango.
It is with that love and care that we approach everything we do in our lives and our business, most notably. And if nothing else, we hope that people that are viewing us know that if you really want to take care of those people that you love, you send them to people you trust. And we are promise keepers. We work very hard to make sure that we fulfill all of our obligations. And we really are appreciative of your time being with us. And Jay, bless you for being here with me every single day. I'm going to give you the big virtual hug because I know we're at the end of our time. I'm kind of sad by it because I can keep going. But maybe I'll just take this car for a drive for a little while.
And be safe, drive safe, get back home safe.
All right, be well. We'll talk later. Thank you, guys.
Go, Charlie.
Thank you.